Hey, house guests! Welcome to today's Big Brother 27 updates and spoilers. It's the last one of the year. Can you believe it? I can't believe we're here. Happy finale day, everybody. Woo! Middle Yak says he's so excited for tonight. I'm excited for tonight too. It's gonna be fun. Hello to Maria. Thank you for watching all summer. If you guys don't want to say goodbye to us, we have other channels where we post outside of the Big Brother season. We have a crochet channel called Granny by Nature, where we share everything that we've been working on. We share our small business journey, going to in-person market events, all that good stuff. And we also have a vlog channel called Vegan as Fork, where we just share our daily life type stuff, and we've been doing that for a long time. So we hope you guys join us on some of those. I also want to give a quick thanks to you guys for being so understanding about me missing Saturdays, especially this past month. I was able to go out and go to these in-person events for our crochet business, and that really was great for us, so I appreciate the understanding. And yesterday, I'm not gonna lie, I missed the spoiler for fun because my husband and I got to go see Oh Mary on Broadway with Jinx Monsoon, and it was fantastic. Highly, highly recommend it if you guys are in the area. So funny. Okay, so now it's time to talk about Big Brother, right? Yeah, drama in the last day. So much drama. This is the most active cast that I remember in like the last few days of the season. Like, I don't remember a cast being like this in a long time. It's been exhausting, but it's also been really interesting to watch. So, before we get into all that, our final crew of house guests of the day, we have Fatima, we have Dorsey. I want to wish Dorsey a happy belated birthday. I believe she said her birthday was on the 25th, so I hope you had a wonderful day. We have Jessica Fisher and her kitty Sprawly, who was rescued from a Minnesota forest. Oh my God. And Sprawly looks like a beautiful orange tabby. Love. Bradley T, Daniel Gutierrez, is it Christian Ellis or Christian Ellis and Gia R. Thank you all so much for watching along with us this season. And thank you to all of our house guests of the day this season. I feel like because we switched over to it being like an email thing instead of Patreon, we were able to have so many more and new house guests of the day who have never been on the list before. So that was really fun. And I'm glad that more people got to participate in that. So thank you all so much for the support. And let's get into it. When we left off the other day, it was part 2 of the final HOH competition in progress. We already knew Morgan had won part 1, so she advances to part 3, which will be happening live tonight on the finale. So part 2, we had Vince versus Ashley. And Vince, I gotta say, was already going into this competition with a very defeated attitude. He could not get over the fact that he had lost part 1. And part 1 was that one where you gotta like hang on your little spacecraft, hovercraft thing. And I guess it was like spinning around a lot. And he was complaining about how he just couldn't deal with the spinning. He said, if it wasn't for the spinning, I could have stayed up there all night. Well, you didn't. So he was upset about that. And he was nervous that if he loses part 2, that Morgan and Ashley would just take each other to the end and he would have no chance of getting to the final 2. He doesn't want to be in 3rd place. Wah. So Morgan is constantly trying to pick up the pieces, pump Vince back up. I don't know how she does it, because I would have just, at this point, I would have reached a breaking point. I would have been like, I've had enough. I don't want to talk to you anymore. The rest of the time we're here, we're done. But she just keeps working with him and keeps trying to like get him together. So they did have part 2 of the HOH, and it turns out it was hosted by Frankie Grande. Oh my God. I wonder if this is going to be like a tie-in to Wicked Part 2. Probably not. But, you know, you got to wonder. But yeah, Frankie was there, and the house guests also found out a big secret from this season. They found out the identity of the mastermind. Ooh, so they found out that the mastermind was Dr. Will. Oh my God. So I put was in quotes because, like, Do we really think that Dr. Will was going around the house wearing that mask and recording those messages with the voice changer and all that? No. I don't think so. But he did show up for this competition saying he was the mastermind, which is fun. I can't wait to see him on the episode tonight. Because who doesn't love Dr. Will? He's a Dondi babe, right? But yeah, he will be there tonight, and they're saying he was the mastermind this season. Okay. So turns out Ashley won part 2 of the competition. Oh my God. This is big for Ashley, right? Because now Ashley and Morgan are going to face off in part 3. And that also means that Vince cannot get to the final 2 on his own. He has to be taken there by somebody else. So after the competition was over, Ashley's freaking pumped. This was huge for her. She is celebrating quietly on her own, though, which made me really sad because Vince was being a diaper baby and all sad, so she couldn't like even enjoy her win. But she's quietly chanting, Team Ashley, Team Ashley. And she's like, I just have to win this last competition. And she says if she does, she would take out Morgan. Ah! And then she says, I will be the BB27 winner. And she asks, how iconic would it be to win the very first competition of the season? Well, I mean, it wasn't the very first because like they had those other, she won the veto, but it wasn't the first comp of the season. And the last comp, I mean, it would be iconic for sure. It would be unexpected also. Yeah, wow. She just like made this very, very interesting, right? Especially if she's going to cut Morgan. Because Morgan has been the favorite to win for a bit now, right? But like Morgan might not even make it to the final 2, which is wild. So juxtapose Ashley's quiet celebration with Vince's freaking meltdown. Ugh. So Morgan's trying to comfort him through it, but he's like, I'm dumb, I'm so stupid. I always do this in my real life too. I'm so dumb. And he's upset because apparently he read the directions wrong during the competition. Because I guess this was different in that they didn't get all the directions ahead of time. There were some things that they had to read during the competition. And I think it had to do with the order that house guests were evicted, but he thought that he was supposed to put the day that they were evicted. So he was like all mixed up with that. And it also sounds like he had a huge lead. And then he just stood there while Ashley like made up ground and ended up winning. So he's like, I was yelling and screaming like a child, and that's so out of character for me, but I just wanted to win so badly. I mean, we've seen him throw like quite a few temper tantrums. I'm not sure you can say at this point that that's out of character. How many times does it have to happen to make it part of your character? Yeah, But Vince, after he calms down a little bit, he's asking Morgan, do you know what you're going to do if you win HOH? And he's asking, are you nervous to sit next to me? We know that Morgan has been thinking about this a lot, and it seems like she is definitely considering not going to the end with Vince. So Morgan's like, I'm nervous to sit next to either one of you, you or Ashley. She says Ashley could very easily make an argument to win this whole thing. Not only was she nominated week 1, but she was the target. Remember, she was Vince's target. And then she won the veto to save herself. She aligned herself with the biggest shield of the season, Rachel. And everybody knew if they were going to take a shot at Ashley, they would have to face the wrath of Rachel. So they didn't want to do it. And then even after Rachel left, no one was targeting Ashley. She was going up on the block, but more as a pawn than an actual target. So Vince is like, well, why wouldn't you take me to final 2? Why won't you do it? And Morgan says, I don't know if I can beat you. You have won 4 HOHs. You've had a better social game than me. I don't know about that. I mean, I will say his social game started off so strong, right? Everybody wanted to work with him. Everyone pulling him into alliances, this, that, and the other thing. But then like all the lies started to catch up to him, and suddenly his social game started stinking. So I think he left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So even though he started off strong, look where we are now. But Vince is really trying to downplay his game here. He's like, I upset a lot of people. I lied. I schemed. And like you got hot at the right time, right? You started winning all these competitions. You won more comps than anyone, and you played an honest game. So he's trying to say, like, definitely take me because you're gonna beat me by a landslide. And he's telling Morgan, you're gonna beat either of us. So if you win that final HOH, you would basically be picking who gets second place. Not necessarily. I think, it's hard to say what the jury is going to think at this point. I think any of the three have a good chance of winning in any scenario, right? It's not a landslide for anybody at this point. Morgan does not agree with what Vince is saying. She's feeling, but like also I'm feeling more and more like she is leaning towards not taking Vince. She's not feeling good about going to the end with Vince. So Morgan asks him, if you were me, would you take someone that guarantees you $750,000? And she's like, yeah. Like she's answering her own question. Yeah, you would. So Vince is like, no, well, you would win against either of us. You've played a well-rounded game. But Morgan is not giving him an answer at this point on what she would do. She says, the only thing that I know is that I have to win part 3. That is the only chance that I have. I mean, she doesn't even realize, like, Ashley is not planning on taking her. So it could be the difference between first place and third place for Morgan, because she might not even get to that final 2 if she doesn't win the competition. But she's also figuring, even if Ashley does take her to the end, she really wants this final HOH on her resume, right? She wants to be the one making the decision and getting the credit for this win. She feels like winning this comp would really put her over the top and she would be able to beat Ashley. So later, Vince talks to Ashley in the bathroom and he apologizes for not congratulating her sooner on her big win. And he's like, I'm so embarrassed about how I acted during the comp. I can't wait to see this. Oh my God. Apparently, also during the comp or after the comp, Frankie had told Ashley, like, don't worry about him. Like, he'll be okay. It's just a game. Because I guess he was like really freaking. But Ashley is telling Vince, like, no, I misread the directions too. Like, it's totally understandable. I get it. All right. Later, Ashley's talking to the cameras in the backyard. And she says, I think if I win this final HOH, I can win the whole game. She says, I am the true underdog of the season. I would agree with that. I think she's been an underdog. She says, I'm not going to stop planting seeds about Vinny to Morgan, right? Because she says, I need to make sure that if I don't win this competition, I'm at least going to be taken to the end by Morgan. And she's like, I'm pretty sure at this point that she's going to take me. But she says Vince is going to say everything he can to get Morgan to pick him. So she says, I don't know if I can even win sitting next to Morgan because Morgan has comped out. But Ashley says Big Brother is a social game at the end of the day. And if Morgan did not win all of those competitions, she would have been out of here way sooner, right? She would not be in this final 3. So I think I have that to my advantage. She also brings up people were not looking at me as a target. She says Morgan didn't even start winning competitions until like day 50 something. And even before she started winning, people were still looking at Morgan as target. So Ashley is trying to say, like, I had a better social game than Morgan because even though neither of us were really winning comps, she was a target and I was not, which is definitely an interesting point to make. She says Morgan really lacked foresight. You know, she was missing things that were right in front of her because she was so focused on Vinny for so much of the game. Ooh. I mean, she's not wrong. But Ashley also brings up this key line, which it sounds like will be included in her final 2 speech should she get there. She's going to talk about how she turned enemies into allies multiple times. I think later on she was practicing again, and she actually put this in the context of Vince, basically saying, like, I turned enemies into allies, whereas Vince turned allies into enemies because he kept lying to them and stabbing them in the back. Girl, that is so good though. That is a really good point. She was also talking about the formation of the judges and like basically setting herself up to take credit for this alliance forming. And from the stuff she's saying, like, I feel like she did play a huge role in getting this group together. She says, I was able to show Rachel why we should work with Morgan and Vince because Rachel was ready to cut those two loose. But Ashley saw that their group was losing numbers. And if they pulled Morgan in, they would get Vince with her. And I think that's going to resonate with the jury potentially. So she's got a lot of good potential final two speech talking points. I mean, she's a lawyer, right? She's also planning on revealing that she's a lawyer in her speech. I don't know how much that's going to affect things. Everybody, who lies about their job always thinks it's going to have some huge impact if they reveal it at the end. But like, most of the time, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it does. I know she was planning on being like, I'm the Black Elle Woods. I was playing ditzy just to make people underestimate me, which I do think was very effective for her this season. I think her reveal will probably hold some more weight than Morgan's reveal, but I still don't see it being like that big of a thing. But whatever. So on the other hand, we have a Vince camera talk. This one was not as hopeful. Vince was like, I embarrassed myself by yelling and screaming at inanimate objects like during part 2. And he says, this was the worst possible way to end my experience here. He feels like neither Morgan nor Ashley will take him to the final 2 at this point. He's not realizing, though, that Ashley is genuinely planning on taking him to the end. So that might be a bit of a surprise for him if Ashley does win the comp. But he says, this is not how my story is supposed to end. And he also apologizes for being so emotional all season. It's okay, I guess. All right, so Friday night. Oh my God. Vince and Morgan were in the hot tub until like 4:30, 5 a.m. Ashley stayed in there for a while with them. And I think she probably was trying to like talk block them. But like, there was no way. There was no way that she was going to outlast these two and make sure that they were not talking all night. So she had to go to bed eventually. Morgan and Vince stayed in the hot tub, and they're just freaking bickering back and forth about who had the better social game, who has a better chance of winning. Morgan is saying, I can't beat you if we go to the end together. You had a better social game than me. Vince is saying, my game was terrible. I lied. I hurt people. I'm not getting any jury votes. Take me to the end. It's just the same shit over and over. Like, there's only so many times you can listen to the same conversation. But Vince says, I am campaigning for second place. And if I can be runner-up to my best friend, then I'm happy with my experience and my legacy. I can live with that. But if I get cut at final 3, when you are guaranteed to win 7-0 no matter what, that hurts. Oh my God. It's too much. It's too much. So like, yeah, they were bickering. Of course, lots of I love yous exchanged as well between the two of them. There was like a hug, which seems like a lot. I'm sorry, but when you're both wearing bathing suits and you're wet and you're hugging and you have a girlfriend of 7 years or had a girlfriend of 7 years, it's a lot. But yeah, that was Friday night. Still no answer from Morgan on what she wants to do. But then Saturday morning, Morgan was talking to the cameras. And she's again saying, like, I don't truly know what I'm going to do if I win the comp. She says, I have valid arguments against both Ashley and Vince. But she's got to think about who is the bigger threat to win between the two. And eventually she says, part of me feels like it is the right decision to send Vince home if I win. Ooh. She's getting there. She's cooking. So she's working on her final 2 speech as well. And like I mentioned before, she is planning to reveal that she is a professional video game content creator and competitor. It's just giving social media mogul to me, which is so funny because Frankie was hosting the comp the other day. I am a social media mogul. Yeah, I just don't know that this reveal is going to hit very hard in the speech, but Sure. So she's going to talk about how like she's played against some of the best in the world and like she's got the heart of an athlete but the mind of a gamer. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. In other news, here's some silly news. Ashley had toilet paper stuck to her pants again yesterday. What is this girl doing in the bathroom? Do you really need to be putting toilet paper down on the seat every time you go? Like, it's the three of you in the house. Come on. It's too much. But anyway, we had more of the same from Vince and Morgan. Vince begging Morgan to take him to the end, saying that she's going to beat either of them anyway. So why not give second place to her friend? And he pulls out this gem at one point. I just want you to give me 75K. The audacity. This is insane. I just can't believe that that's for real. He really said that word for word. But he also says, you're paranoid for thinking that I'm going to beat you. You're paranoid. And you would beat me 7-0. 7-0. So Morgan comes up with a little assignment for Vince because she's telling Vince, look, if I know for sure that I can beat you, I would love to take you to the end. But you know what? She's trying to clinch this win, right? Of course she wants to go to the end with Vince, but she also like really wants to win. And she's not going to risk the money just to get him to the end. So she tells Vince, I need you to go and talk to Ashley and get an unbiased opinion about who would win between me and you. Right? Ashley will tell us straight up. She's honest. She'll let us know, or she'll let you know who she thinks would win between the two of us. This is insane. This is insane. But Vince does go talk to Ashley and he's like, so like, what do you think? And Ashley's like, for you, like between you and Morgan, she says, I don't know. I don't know how the jury feels. If you had been able to win the final HOH and take Morgan out, I think you would definitely win. You know, that would be a huge move. But like, obviously that's not happening. So now who knows at this point? Who knows what would happen? So Ashley knows what's going on here. After this conversation, Ashley talks to the cameras. She saw exactly what Vince was doing. She saw through this whole scheme and she's like, you know what? I do think that Morgan would beat Vince in the end, but I'm not going to say that because she wants to make sure that Morgan would choose her for final two and not Vince. She's not dumb, right? She's not going to give Vince the ammo to bring back to Morgan so that Morgan will pick Vince over her. She's not going to do it. But again, Ashley lets us know if it is up to her, she is still planning on picking Vince for final two. And she says, I love Morgan. We're going to be friends for life. She's going to be in my wedding one day, whatever. But she says, I feel like I have a better chance of beating Vince. Now, this is interesting because I don't even know if that's true. I worry that like Ashley does win and she brings Vince to the end. And then Vince, oh my God, can you imagine if Vince actually wins? I do think it's possible because unfortunately, I feel like a lot of these house guests on the jury do not respect Ashley's game. I think she's got a lot of friends and fans in Rachel, Will, probably Ava over Vince, I think, maybe. But like, you've got Keanu, who I feel like is still going to run back to Vince and vote for him. You've got Kelly, who like despises Ashley. You have Lauren, who I think would still vote for Vince. Yeah, I just feel like, and Morgan would vote for Vince to win. Like, unfortunately, I'm worried that Vince would beat Ashley. And I do think that Ashley would have a chance of maybe beating Morgan because Kelly, Ava, Lauren, they're all like anti Morgan. So I don't know. But I don't know. But she seems to think that she has a better chance of beating Vince. So later, Morgan and Ashley chat, and Ashley is pushing again that if Vince were to win the final HOH, she doesn't think that he would have taken Morgan to the end. She's like, he was telling you one thing and everybody else something else. He was telling everybody else that he would not take you. And I think he was lying to you. And this seems to be working with Morgan. Every time Ashley brings it up, Morgan seems to get upset again, thinking that Vince would turn on her. And she seems to agree, like, there's a pretty good chance that he would not take her. So Morgan talks about how she has learned about men the hard way throughout her life. She says, this is nothing against Vince. But she says, my whole life has always been like choosing men over myself. And she says, now I have a chance to actually make a decision for me. Oh, okay. So, like, it's looking more and more like she would not choose Vince. So later, Morgan is walking alone in the backyard, and she's like, I can feel it in my heart that beating Vince would be harder than beating Ashley. And I don't want to make this any harder for myself than it needs to be, right? So we're just getting more and more confirmation that she is leaning towards cutting Vince if she wins. So then Morgan was also even practicing how she will answer the inevitable question from the jury. Why did you cut Vince over Ashley? What made you want to take Ashley to the end? And her answer was basically like, there comes a time where you have to make the hard game-winning decision. We've been working together, we're number ones, but like if I want to win this game, I got to make a tough call. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I mean, if she's thinking about that question, it's looking very likely that that's what she would do. So then last night, oh my God, the drama. Vince just ramping up the pity party. If you thought it was bad before, he's really trying to guilt Morgan into taking him to the final two. He's like, my best friend won't take me to the final two. I've had the strongest ally anyone could ever have hoped for, and she's not even going to take me to the end. And he's like, I guess I don't deserve to be in final two if that's the case. Like, I tried to win the comps, but my body failed me in part one. My mind failed me in part two. And he's telling Morgan, like, I'm hurt, of course. I'm trying not to take it personally, but you're going to reward someone who doesn't even give an F about this game, and she's just going to collect her checks while she's already comfortable. Oh my God. So Morgan is like, no, I don't like this. She's shutting it down. She says, I don't know where this little attitude you have is coming from, but I don't like it. And Vince is like, because you can give me second place and you're refusing. Oh my God, stop whining. He's so entitled. Like, it's too much. It's way too much. But Morgan's like, or, if I took you to the end, you might beat me and then I'd get second place. He's really selfish. I mean, he's not seeing that Morgan is also trying to win here. And it's not guaranteed that she's going to win if she goes to the end with him. That is why she does not want to go there. So Morgan's like saying again, if I knew that I could beat you, I would take you to the end. Vince is insisting, I'd get 0 jury votes. You beat me 7-0. So eventually Morgan starts crying because it's just like too much. She's putting so much pressure on her. Her biggest concern right now is just winning part 3 because she is not feeling like Ashley is going to definitely take her to the end because she's not. So she's like, I might end up in 3rd place if I don't win this thing. And you're like putting all this pressure on me. I'm supposed to be like preparing for this competition. I'm also like trying to come up with a speech and potential answers for jury questions. And you're like putting all this extra pressure on me. So she's saying, like, you don't understand how hard this decision is for me. It's very insensitive of you. And Vince is like, I just want effing second place. I think I at least deserve second. The entitlement. So Morgan eventually lets him know, I am thinking of not taking you to the end. Ugh! So Vince is like, oh, I can't believe it. I always thought that it was me and you, not me versus you. This is not how my story is supposed to end. I mean, no, it's not how he wanted it to end because ideally Vince wanted to go to the end with Lauren. He absolutely would have cut Morgan to go to the end with Lauren. So I love how he's trying to rewrite history and make it seem like he's been loyal to Morgan this whole entire time. No. No effing way. But Morgan, she can't do this anymore. She's had enough. She's like, I can't, you're being insensitive to me. Like, this needs to stop. So like she goes to take a shower, and then eventually they reconvene. And at this point, she's like crying. She's telling Vince, like, it's too much. I don't know what to say. Like, so he's like, oh, don't cry. Like, I don't want to put all this pressure on you, but like, you have to make a choice. But eventually he says, if you don't take me to the final two, I don't want to bring real world stuff into this, but it's probably going to take me some time to get over this whole thing. And like, I'm not trying to pressure you. I'm not trying to do that. I do think that you would beat me 7-0, and that's the last time I'm going to say it. But like, I know myself, and if you don't take me, I am going to need some time. But he says, I'll have you know, this experience has meant the world to me. I will literally always love you on a very deep core level. You have been my rock this whole game, this crazy game. You have been my rock, and that means the world to me. And if I wanted to be in a position of power, I should have won, but I effed up. I couldn't win the comps. So he's telling her, you do what you need to do, but I'm still always going to love you, and we will still be friends. The drama. And it's too much. All right, so this morning, Morgan was the first one up. She's praying. She's talking to the camera. She's practicing her final two speech. She's very grateful to be here on the last day of the season. She's thanking live feeders for watching this season. And she's like, I hope I have some fans and that you guys enjoyed my gameplay and late night strategy talks. Girl, the freaking grip that she had over a lot of the live feeders with all those Vorgan hours and everything, she has no idea. But anyway, eventually Vince does come outside, and he joins her for like the last 2 minutes of the live feeds this season. And he's like, bye to anyone watching live feeds. Hopefully we were able to entertain, distract, comfort. And then Morgan takes over again, and she's like, we both probably cried enough for the whole cast this season. There was certainly a lot of tears. She says, I hope you guys enjoyed watching Vinny and I do our little duo things. Is that what we're calling it? Little duo things. Human chemistry. I'm going to leave it there. Morgan talks about how hard it is to be on the show, and how, you're really putting yourself out there, and you've got like millions of people watching, and it's really difficult. You're really being tested. And then the feed's cut for good. That's it. That was it. Ashley slept through the goodbye. We did not get to hear from Ashley, which is kind of like to be expected. Did we really think that Ashley was going to get up and talk to everybody? Probably not. But yeah, that was it for live feeds. So the finale is tonight. We got a lot to get in there. It's 2 hours. It starts at 8:30 p.m. So we're going to see the jury roundtable hosted by Cody Calafiore. We're going to see Ashley and Morgan face off in part 3 of the final HOH. Whoever wins that gets to choose who goes to the final 2 with them. We know that Ashley is planning on taking Vince. We know that Morgan is planning on taking Ashley, as far as we've seen. And it's interesting because it really is anyone's game in any scenario. I feel like there's no locked winner in either scenario, which is wild. We don't get that very often, right? Where there's no like clear winner. So that's interesting. We're also going to see the jury questioning, which I feel like it always goes way too quickly. And there's not enough time for people to really like think about their answers, and like for the jury to think about the finalists' answers and like have that impact their votes. It's really for show more than anything, unfortunately. We're going to get the winner of this whole season, and we're also going to find out who won America's favorite player. I hope it's Rachel, but I feel like it's going to be Keanu. Freaking casuals. But yeah, I want to thank everyone so much for watching along with us this season. Everybody who watched the live streams, who watched the replays, the recaps. all of our super chatters and everybody. I want to thank my mom, of course, for being my partner in all of this. I want to thank my husband and my family for being so understanding, especially with like the crazy schedule and being so supportive. I want to thank our animal camera crew, Bowie and Lammy, who are always, they're on air talent as well. They really do the most. It's fun. I want to thank all of the live feed updaters online, especially on BB Blue Sky. You guys have been amazing, and I couldn't do my streams every day without your updates because I need to sleep. But you guys really did an amazing job, and it was kind of like I wasn't sure going into this season what it was going to be like because I used to use Twitter predominantly for updates, and now I wasn't sure what the community was going to be like on Blue Sky, but I was really excited to see how many people made the jump over to Blue Sky and just built like an amazing community over there. And I also have to say, like, everybody was so nice and respectful, and it was just like one of the most pleasant seasons in recent memory of like watching it and interacting with everybody. So I'm really appreciative of that. And yeah, all the other Big Brother YouTubers. It really is such an amazing community that I am honored to be a part of. So I want to thank you all so much for making our Big Brother experience so fun. And I will see you guys all for the finale tonight. But first, I want to thank our super chatters. Okay, before we go. Oh my God, you guys, so generous and thoughtful. Gail Murphy Comedy, thank you so much. And she says, thanks. Couldn't have done it without you. Thank you. Camila Gamba, thank you so much. She says, love you guys. Thanks. Much love. Right back at you. Lynn Hurst, thank you so much. Lynn says, thanks so much for all your updates and spoilers. Maddie for America's favorite player. Stop. Thank you so much. I mean, I'd love $50,000 for sure. But thank you. Vajra, thank you so much for the very generous super chat. He says, I missed most of the live feeds this season, but this is for all the work you've put in these past few months. Thanks for all you do. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. That is very kind of you. Shane Wright, thank you so much all season. You have been an absolute rock star. Nomura Rin, thank you so much all season as well. You guys who keep coming back too, like, we cannot thank you enough. Nomura Rin says, you are amazing. I've been watching since season 8. Oh my God. And you went to college and did it in the dark. Yeah, right? I can't believe I was still doing the updates in college. That was crazy. I don't know how I got that done. I remember them not being as thorough as they are now during the college days or even during the high school days, but we got it done, right? 5 stars, girl. I wish we could be friends. I need a D&D group. Oh, that would be so much fun if we had like a virtual D&D group. That would be a lot of fun. But thank you so much. Josh D, thank you so much. Shout out to Canada. Josh says, I want Ashley to win, but there's a part of me that would rather see Morgan win and take Vince out. Vince doesn't deserve the 75K second prize. He needs to start earning money. Plus, watching him leave is a bonus. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I would much rather see, well, I would love to see Ashley win. I would much rather see Morgan win, take out Vince, go to the end with Ashley, then both of our girlies get the prize money and Vince does not. Is that wrong? That's what I would like to see happen. Just the thought of like Vince making it to the final 2 and not Morgan doesn't sit right with me. So unfortunately for Ashley, I don't want to see her win the final HOH. If she was planning on taking Morgan, I'd be all for it. But yeah, I want to see Morgan and Ashley both in the final 2. And it seems like the only way we're going to see that happen is if Morgan wins the final comp. Yes. Thank you again, Josh. Mike D, thank you so much. Mike says, holla. If Vince makes it, do you think he gets Lauren's vote? Also, the drama of his reaction to his girlfriend not being at finale night. Yikes. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so the first part, do I think he gets Lauren's vote? I actually do think he would get Lauren's vote because I feel like she, I mean, we saw it in the house. I think it's the same situation with Keanu where like they just keep going back for more. Even though they have been freaking burned by Vince, they keep going back for more. I will say, I think Lauren would be less likely to vote for him than Keanu, but I still think that Lauren would probably vote for him. I could be completely wrong. Maybe her being around Ava and Kelly again, they would be like, you cannot vote for him. But I don't know. I just feel like specifically against either Morgan or Ashley, also, like, she's going to want to vote for Vince over them, which is like sad. But that's just the vibe that I'm getting. Also, yeah, the drama of his reaction. I mean, he has to know that this is not going to end well for him, right? With his girlfriend. He has to know. I'm going to be shocked if he's like surprised about this whole situation, but like, yeah, who knows? We'll see what happens. William Dang, thank you so much. Another shout out to Canada. William says this endgame is the best since Big Brother 17. It has been crazy. It's been, I got to give it to this season for like keeping it interesting all the way through. I was worried after Rachel left that we were going to have like nothing, but Vorgan with their drama really kept driving things. I'll miss your fun live feed updates. Thank you. Last question. Who do you think the votes would go, or how do you think the votes would go in an Ashley Vince final two? All right. Ashley versus Vince. Let me just write this down so I can like, I just need to like see it visually. I need some M&Ms. Okay, so Ashley versus Vince. Okay, so I would like to think that Rachel and Will both vote for Ashley. There is the chance that maybe Rachel would be like, you know what, Vince played harder than Ashley. Because we did see also in the jury segment from Friday's episode that Rachel is starting to recognize Vince's game a little bit more, even though she's not a huge fan of it. She's like, he did win all these HOHs. He has been making moves. Has he been sloppy as hell? Yes, but he hasn't been playing the game. So there is that chance that maybe she votes for Vince, but she's also like super tight with Ashley. So she might be giving it to Ashley. So let's just say Rachel will for Ashley. I think Ava probably votes for Ashley. Here's where it gets tricky because like I do think that Keanu still votes for Vince because he's like obsessed with him. He's a man. He's a man. I do think that Lauren votes for Vince. I think that Morgan would be voting for Vince, of course. And then Kelly, can you imagine if Kelly is the freaking swing vote here? Oh! I mean, she's been burned by Vince so many times, but she's also talked so much crap about Ashley and how she wouldn't deserve to win if she was at the end. However, maybe she would be swayed by Ashley because I think if Ashley gets to that final two, she's going to make a killer speech. I think she's going to be really good in the jury questions. So I'm going to lean Kelly voting for Ashley, but who knows what Kelly would do, right? So I think it would be close, but I think Ashley would potentially win at least 4-3 against Vince. But like, I could be completely off. That's just my interpretation of the votes, but who knows? So thank you so much, William. Christopher Brown, thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate you. Christopher says, happy last spoiler and end to a greatest season. It was a fun season. There were some times where it really was not fun, but overall, it was a fun experience. Christopher also says, thanks for all you do, Team Ashley. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. Anita Nestler, oh my God, thank you so much for the very, very generous super chat. You are amazing, and we cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much. Susie Jill, thank you so much. That's a fun little sticker. I like the high five happening here. Thank you. All right. I guess we're going to call it there, guys. I really cannot thank you all enough for being here. Yes, the M&Ms. I would love some M&Ms. There's this company called Unreal that makes like vegan, basically M&Ms, and I think I need to get some for Halloween because I love M&Ms, but I can't eat the regular ones anymore. All right. It's been real, homies. I'll see you tonight for the finale recap with my mom. It's going to be a good time, hopefully. So thank you guys. And until later, much love. Bye, everybody. Bye. See you later.